I was a small Jewish redheaded boy named Seth in the early 80s. My life, and I wanted to like sing and dance and make movies. I was not popular.
Hello, and welcome to Grave Conversations, the only show where your favorite celebrities get to lie down. I'm your host, David Dastmalchian. Today's guest is someone that we hope is going to live forever. He is a multi-talented actor, writer, producer, ranging from Buffy the Vampire Slayer to Austin Powers to Can't Hardly Wait, changed the television landscape forever with Robot Chicken from Stupid Buddy Studios. Please welcome the one and only, my dear friend, Seth Green. Hi.
Hi, buddy.
How are you?
I'm good. This is so comfortable.
Is this the first time you've ever lain in a casket?
My buddy Breckin Meyer actually got a casket when he was a teenager and used it as a bed for a couple of years, which I still find so funny. He did it completely sincerely.
That's amazing.
But I always imagine him bringing girls back to that. Just being like, no, I'm totally cool. Get in my casket.
It depends on the person. I'm assuming some people might be like, oh, wow. And some people will be like, oh, wow. Yeah, there's a whole different slew of reactions possible for that.
It's true. This was the 90s, and the goth movement was still really alive and well.
It's not anymore?
Maybe I should have said thriving.
Thank you. Seth, you've been interviewed so many times, probably at least a half a dozen. But this is Grave Conversations. So I'm going to not only ask you the questions that we think you've never answered before, I'm going to ask you questions that we're certain you've never answered before. This is a segment we call Questions That You Need to Answer Before You Die, or quintabid, as the kids call it, quintabid. First quintabid of the day. When you put a soda can in your recycling, do you crush it with your hand first, or do you just toss it in, damn the space?
I crush it with my hand, but I don't collapse it entirely, which I could.
Yeah.
I could, I'm strong enough.
Have you ever been to Omaha, Nebraska?
I don't think I have.
Have you ever been in a fist fight?
Yeah. I grew up in West Philadelphia. I've been in so many fist fights. I was a small Jewish redheaded boy named Seth in the early 80s. My life, and I wanted to like sing and dance and make movies. I was not popular. Oh my God, I had hippie parents. One who had spent like years in Europe, and so she sent me to school in my sister's feminine hand-me-downs, and I wore shit like wooden clogs to school with no socks. My life was hell until I was 16 and moved away.
Oh.
Yeah, fistfights. I mean, if you call it that, you basically get assaulted by a bunch of kids. Ah! I try to fight back like where I can. It's why I learned to be like use my size to my advantage, use my access and my speed to my advantage to overtake someone much larger and more determined than me.
What is the most overrated animal?
I know people put elephants up there. I mean, I support it. What does overrated really mean?
I was about to say, don't be talking no shit on those elephants, man.
It's gotta be something else, right? Like
Yeah.
Overrated is like a koala.
They're falsely presented.
We've had koala encounters when we were in Australia at the zoo. They organized that, and they're scary, man.
Yeah, man, they can.
They look at you and they mean it, and they've got like real sharp things happening in their mouth.
They look at you and they mean it.
Yeah, when they look at you, they're like.
That was hard-hitting. Those questions were tough. I know I throw them at you like, Major League Baseball pitcher on the mound. But before we get further into the reason we're here, which is, well, what is the reason we're here? Oh, I don't want to go down that. That's a tangent. But death. We're talking about death today, but before that, let's talk about life. Is there anything that you're working on now that makes you feel particularly alive?
Yeah, I've been really excited about a few things for a while. I guess I can't really, none of them are in a place to discuss.
Okay.
But that's been really like working towards, as with anything creative, when you have an idea and you're at the place of adding all the things to it that it needs so it can exist. That's an exciting and inspiring and often defeating and challenging space.
Now that all of the hard questions are out of the way,
Yeah.
it's time to normalize conversations about death and dying. Are you ready to talk about end of life, celebrations, funeral planning? My favorite segment that we're entering in now is called Death Wish. How often do you think about death and dying?
I think I spent a good amount of it when I was young, and these days I don't. You know, there's so much that we just don't know, right? And I can only spend so much worry on things that are unknowable.
Yeah.
And so I like to put my focus and energy on the things that I can do to make my life and the lives of the people around me better, happier, more joyful, less full of worry and conflict.
You do it too. Do you know if you want to be buried or cremated or eaten by wolves?
When Claire and I talk about what kind of monument we would leave in our place, the only thought is leaving a place where your kids or family could visit, right? Because there's something meaningful in having, whether it's a headstone or the thing I really liked is the idea of putting a bench and a tree, right? I'd heard that there's ways to use your remains to plant a tree, and having a small plot that our families could visit. That seems like a pretty cool thing.
What do you think happens to us after we die?
Well, I heard the most wonderful thing. Keanu Reeves mused, "When we are gone, the people who love us will miss us." And beyond that, it's really unknowable, right? I mean, everybody's got hopes. I've certainly thought about it or had experiences with psychedelics or other kind of influences that gave me what I imagine is a similar sensation, like a sense of total connectivity to all knowable things in space, in the infinite galaxies and universes. You know, some kind of reabsorption into the literal fabric of space and time.
I love that. I love it because I think sometimes about how, for whatever reason, there seems to be this undefinable, relentless, insidious force in the universe that seems completely compelled and driven to convincing each of us that we're alone on this journey. And obviously, I believe we're not. And I think one of the great things we are called upon to do in this life is to connect with one another, remind one another we're not alone. It's a gift of being a storyteller, because when you tell a story really well, people can see a reflection of themselves, hopefully, in it.
You know, we each get our very individual experience. So we each really are confined to the inside of our own mind, of our own consciousness, and the way that we can observe ourselves or observe other people. And so to that degree, there is a loneliness that's inevitable in anyone's experience, just because you can only hug so hard. You can only feel so connected. And then you have to contend with this undeniable truth that it's just you in there, you know? And what I find comforting about that is that realization that there isn't something more complicated, there isn't something larger behind the voice that is telling me, hey, watch out for that, or like, hey, maybe you should do something nice for yourself, or hey, maybe you should consider this other person in your decisions. That voice is you. That voice is you. And you are able to give yourself love and care and forgiveness and understanding. And in that, you find the freedom, the comfort, the safety to really let yourself know someone else and let someone else get to know you, which is the choice, right? That's the choice. You got to decide to let anybody get to know you or to really get to know anybody else.
Now, before time runs out, I have one final thing I would like for you to do, please.
Okay.
Give your own eulogy. I spelled out Y-O-U-logy. Eulogy. Do you get it? Do you understand?
I do.
Okay, great. Awesome. When I say die, you'll have 60 seconds. This is probably, well, no, it is in fact the most important speech of your entire death. I don't want you to overthink it though. 3, 2, 1, die.
When I was very young, the thing that I found the most desirable was to be thought of as a good person, somebody that made the world nicer instead of shittier. And I have really spent my whole life in service to that principle, using the skills that I've acquired and what I felt were my best and most productive qualities. I did my best. I lived the hell out of life, went and saw as much as I could, learned as much as I could, shared and spread as much as I could. And then I worked really, really hard and tried to be nice to everybody. So, see you later.
Our time is up, but it's not, because we're gonna hang out probably really soon.
Yeah.
Play games together and be nerds together.
Isn't that the best?
But thanks for hanging out in a casket with me today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh man, what an honor. That was amazing.
Yeah, this is fun, getting a burial with you.
As much as I wish this conversation could keep going forever and ever, I guess I just have to say bye.
All things end. God, napping is really one of the best skills I had picked up.